This is a very good question, and let me tell you. You say that the public school administration very responsive to your IEP request, but then on the implementation side, it sucked. And if it sucks on the implementation side, then I'm sorry, you got a problem on the administration side. That a good IEP and good services, no matter how responsive your administration is, I understand a hiccup or two on implementation. I do understand that, but a responsive administration is going to a responsive administration is going to ensure that you don't have multiple or continuing or ongoing hiccups. So, I mean, just take that into consideration. Because I can tell you, a hot dog style carrying the legs and the body. I mean, if they carried your child through the common areas, there's going to be a video of that. And I don't know how long ago this happened. In a lot of schools, will wipe their videos after, it varies. 30 days, maybe less. But something like that is absolutely inappropriate for a myriad of reasons. But it also doesn't sound like to me that your child was given, or the IEP was inclusive of all of the things that your child needed. And I'm not talking about accommodations. I'm also talking about the specialized services to address the anxiety or behavioral responses, motivation, independence, self-management, all of those things. If they did not address appropriately and have the right professionals involved training the staff, because the response by the teacher is a direct response to either arrogance, professional arrogance, which is very common, which means that unless they're willing or wanting to learn, there's just nothing you can do about just a stubborn jackass. All right, so I mean, they're out there, and they're a big waste of resources, because I get schools all the time to commit to bringing in third-party trainers. I mean, we have a very good expert in the area of Asperger's, high-functioning autism in Alabama, that's written many books. And she trains all the time and goes into these schools. But I tell you, if the schools are unwilling, and I'm not talking about the school as a whole, I'm talking about one or two individuals, either the principal or one of the teachers. It just doesn't matter how much money they're going to spend. It's the ignoramus here that continues to be an obstacle to the success of the child. Now, move them aside. Most of our educators want the additional support, training, and assistance. And then once they see the child improving and making gains, they have buy-in to the training. They can see it working. And I think a lot of the apprehension on the part of educators, from my experience, has been that there's just a lot of bad training out there. There's a lot of bad training, and it's just a lot of them. I mean, think, what makes this different? Well, it's different because James Galini is very, very picky in who I ask to come in and solve these problems, and I only ask people that I have a track record of success with, that carry with them a very good reputation of competency-based training, that will hold people accountable, that won't sit there and capitulate and bend to the will and wishes of the institution, because I don't care what the school wants. Frankly, I don't care what the parent wants either. I'm talking about at the end of the day what the child needs, because sometimes what the child needs and what the child requires is not what the parents think the child needs, and not what the school thinks the child needs. So I need a professional in there that is singularly focused on what the child needs to be successful. And I don't view either one as 100% correct. So as long as the professional that goes in there that is singularly focused on a child, we end up having success. And, in this situation, I mean, that's what ended up happening. Now, you ended up pulling your child out because of the situation, and you're looking for private school tuition reimbursement. Now, how do you do that? Due process, mediation, you can request, but they may sit there and say, go jump in the lake, and then you would be left with mediation or due process in order to make your case that your child's making gains at this private education facility and was floundering over here and damaged over here. You could make an argument that the reason that you pulled your child out without submitting a 10-day notice, because that's a big important one that a lot of parents do not know exists within the law. If you are looking for reimbursement for a private placement and you're wanting reimbursement and you're wanting them to assume payments in the future, then you have to give the school 10 days notice before you unenroll your child, to give the school an opportunity to try to resolve it with you. 10 days. And so many parents don't know that that little thing exists in there, and they remove their child. Now, does that mean that it is a bar for relief, meaning that you're excluded from making a claim and moving forward? No, not at all. It just means that it becomes a very strong defense for the school system. And when I say strong defense, I mean, in your situation, if you don't have a defense at all, but then you didn't put in a 10-day notice, I would consider that a strong defense, meaning that they may catch you on a technicality. But if you can make an argument that it was done because of the social, emotional, or the emotional well-being for your child and their mental stability, and you had that documented, let's say with a psychologist, psychiatrist, or with your doctor, that this was going on at this time, then yes, I think that right there would be what I would consider an exigent circumstance, would be an emergency justification for why you couldn't provide the 10-day notice. But the 10-day notice is important. It just means that the hearing officer or the federal judge could reduce the amount, or it could be a complete bar if you don't have a good enough justification. But I think in your situation, you would have a good justification. I would go immediately and ask or tell them in an email that you want any and all video footage of whatever that day in question, of the hot dog day, maintained and pulled. All right. Now, even if they claim, oh, we raced over it, or we didn't see anything, you still have a marker in there. And then if you find out later through discovery that, they actually keep this stuff on file for 45 days or for 60 days, that they were lying to you, then it enhances your case, you see. But if they know that you are asking for video footage, it also may encourage them to try to work with you on this. But also don't be afraid to go back to this responsive administration, and maybe you missed some enhancements and some training and some outside professionals that could have come in to really support your child and train staff to a level of competency. And maybe starting in January or maybe next school year, you can negotiate to reintegrate your child, and you're just looking for reimbursement and for the remainder of the school year. There's a lot of schools that will do that in order to avoid the sheer cost of litigation. So you got a lot of options out there, but that's my take. All right.